Premier League primetime on tape. Jose, Cyrus, and Andre. And you know that Daveye don't play. In the field, they can talk about it all day. Look, and we moving up. You can try all you want, can't move like us. When it all comes down, they choosing us. And I do gotta say, we don't give a fuck. Premier League primetime, and it's only that. Speak only facts. Say what I want, can't hold me back. Can't hold me back. Premier League primetime, better yet, it's my time. You stay on the sideline. Say what I want, can't hold me back. Premier League primetime.
Hello and welcome back to Premier League Primetime, and we are here for none other than the preview to the North London Derby on Thursday. And of course, with me, who else would I have here with me? Mr. Tottenham, Mr. Andre. What's new? How are you doing? Anything at all? Nope, absolutely not. And of course, we have Cyrus as well, Mr. Arsenal himself. I'm not even going to ask the question because I know the end result. But let's just get right into the preview, starting off with Cyrus and Arsenal. And looking at that game, the performance against Leeds, of course, also coming out on top by 2-1. What were just your thoughts on the game, and any players that stood out to you, positive and negative?
Yeah, sorry if my voice is a little off. I got my wisdom teeth out yesterday, but I think you just have to give it to Nketiah. I mean, 2 goals, 2 masterclasses against Leeds, and then Chelsea, also his former team Leeds that he was loaned out to, proving a statement. He's trying to stay in the team next year. I'm impressed by that. I'm impressed by Elneny and Xhaka again. Negatives, like probably just the clean sheet. Maybe the first half we were, so on top of them. Maybe the second half we could have been, a little better, but it's okay. 3 points is 3 points, and that's all I care about. I thought Martinelli was also good, dangerous. I'm glad he's just not injured from that tackle.
I was gonna say, yeah, like I've been hearing some people tell me that the tackle wasn't as bad as people are making out to be, but I like how you could go in and slide in like that with 2 feet, studs up. Like there was no attempt to get the ball. Martinelli was in no threatening position. He was in the corner in the 26th minute. Like I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah, doesn't make sense. Even if it was, the debate, red, yellow, you don't go in with 2 feet like that, especially the first half. Doesn't make sense.
Now, Luke Ayling rightfully sent off. And now, looking ahead to the North London Derby, what, in your opinion, needs to be done? Looking at this game, looking at what goes well, what doesn't go well, what do you think needs to be done in preparation for that Tottenham game? Starting with that, as well as where can Tottenham be targeted and exposed in terms of the weaknesses?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens. I'm also wondering, is Ben White going to start? Is he going to be fit? Because that's going to be interesting, whether Arteta plays 5 at the back or keeps 4 at the back, Ben White not playing. It just all depends if he's fit. I think the thing I'm most worried about is our left back situation, for sure. Because I know Son is playing left wing, but I feel like Conte might switch him to right wing because we don't have a good left back right now. I think that might be smart. Depends if he switches sides. Because I don't trust Nuno. I guess Cedric might have to play there. Depends what happens. Or you could have Ben White there. But it's going to be difficult against Son and Kane, I think. I think that if we're going to want to win this game, we're going to have to score. For sure, because I know Tottenham will score against us. We're not going to keep a clean sheet this game. We're going to have to get goals. We're going to have to hope Nketiah continues his form. Hope Martinelli can take advantage of, either Ben Davies or Saka takes advantage of Ben Davies. I think Emerson is another weakness. I thought he was actually decent against Liverpool, but watching him this season, I think that he is a defensive liability at times, and I think we could take advantage of that.
Yeah, you said all that incredibly well there. And before we get into Tottenham and Andre, what would your preferred starting 11 team selection be? First, the formation that you'll use, whether it's, as you mentioned before, whether it's a back 5, whether it's a back 4, What would your personnel be?
No, it's difficult because do you bring Ben White back after not playing? I don't know. I think Holding's been decent. I think maybe Ben White comes back the next game. He starts on the bench this game, sees what happens. Um, but I think I'd start, Ramsdale, of course. I think we'd have to do what we did last game, honestly. Play Tomasiu left back or either Cedric, depends. So I
Would you
think
play
Cedric.
Saka left back possibly?
Who?
Would you play Bukayo Saka left back?
Yeah, I was actually thinking that we could do that as well, but it's been a while since he played there. I know he's very versatile, so we could do that. That's actually a good idea, but I don't think Arteta will do that. I think maybe if it was a different coach, he would have. But since Arteta's been with the side, he's played Saka at winger. So I think it's going to be Cedric Holding, Gabriel, Tomaseu. I think he's going to stick with Elneny and Xhaka. And this is tough. Is he going to start Smith Rowe? Is he not? I don't think he is. I think he's going to play. I think it's going to be the exact same lineup against Leeds, to be honest. Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, and Nketiah. So right now, Emile Smith Rowe really just can't get, looking for the starting lineup, which is okay.
Maybe cheeky Lacazette up front.
Definitely not. But no banter. Lacazette does have a good goal scoring record against Tottenham.
That is very true.
I think if Nketiah 60-something minute isn't performing, I'd say put Lacazette on there because he can score against Tottenham. We've seen it.
100%. Yeah, he definitely has. And before we shift into Tottenham, I just want to focus in on one player in particular who's not only just stood out this season, but has recently taken the captain's armband, and he's led by example. Martin Odegaard. Just thoughts on Odegaard, just not only just as a footballer, but just as a captain as of recent. Obviously he's a captain of his country, Norway. Now he's taking the captaincy at Arsenal in the interim. In the meantime, just thoughts on that?
Yeah, he's a professional. Honestly, his first year, I think he had some weaknesses that he's focused on. Honestly, I wasn't too sure of him when we re-signed him. I was like, okay. But he's been brilliant. He's been everything we've needed creativity-wise that we've been lacking previous years once we lost players like Fabregas, Cazorla, Ozil. I think he's been amazing, and he deserves the captain's armband, to be honest. What he'll do against Tottenham, I hope he can take advantage of. I think the matchup between him and Højbjerg will be interesting because I know he's, a defensive anchor, so we'll see what happens there. But I have full trust in him.
Fair enough. And now shifting over to Tottenham, shifting over to Andre. Of course, Tottenham played Liverpool at the weekend, drawing 1-1. Of course, I think we could have all predicted how they were going to score. Heung-min Son scoring on the counter-attack. Then what does Conte do? Sits back, and Conte, thinking he's Thomas Tuchel, sitting back, and parking it. And then Luis Diaz equalizing for Liverpool. Thoughts on the game and players that stood out to you for Tottenham, positive and negative?
You didn't have to say about. You didn't have to describe like your interpretation of how we approached the second half. Like, you didn't have to do any of that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I got a weird thing on my computer. Yeah, it was a great game. I think. You look at the first time we played, we had so many chances against that Liverpool side. So we all knew that we would get the chances, but it was just a question of whether we would finish them. And I think we did well to finish most of those chances, but I think every Spurs fan is just a little just upset about that last header with Højbjerg because I got up from my couch. I thought we'd won at Anfield. I thought we were the team. I was like, no way we just did it. Then he tries to square it. It all goes wrong. But yeah, it was a predictable match. It was even though. Good game.
Fair enough. And looking at this game, right? What players for you just in particular just stood out to you, and whether both players that played well, players that played poorly, anything else that was good about the performance in and of itself, what could have been better?
Yeah, I was happy with our back five because any of those players had a case to be man of the match. Like truly, I thought Ben Davies even was just fantastic. He's been one of our best center backs this season. And then obviously I think Emerson Royale ended up winning man of the match for it. So he was yeah, he had a great game too. I think that was kind of what I knew that Emerson had that capacity in him. We'll just see if he can do it instead of Matt Doherty for going into the rest of the season. Then Ryan Sessegnon, our young guy, is doing really well. He's a really humble kid, so he's always looking to move the ball around, send crosses in. He's not greedy. He's not taking too much time on the ball. He's a very composed player who just, I think, is just he's listening to Conte's instructions, and that's why Conte hasn't been afraid to select him. So yeah, those are back five that shown and surprised a lot of us, I think.
Definitely. And one name that you just mentioned, the Ryan Sessegnon, I mean, I've always held the kid in a very high regard in terms of just the potential he's had. Didn't do very well under Mourinho for me because we played him as a winger. I've always said that, he's his best position, what he did so well at Fulham. He played as a left back or he played as a left wing back in a back five formation. And I think when Conte came in, I think he was a player, if given a chance, I think could really flourish. And he's doing that now. But it's come at the expense of a left back who's often said to be better than Kieran Tierney in Reguilon. What's going on with Reguilon? Because obviously he hasn't been featuring as much as of late under Conte. Do you think Conte just prefers Sessegnon? Do you think he doesn't rate Reguilon? Or what's going on with that? Because he's not been in the lineup as of recent. Same with Davinson Sanchez as of recent.
Yeah, I think after the most recent international break was when we saw Sessegnon and Sergio Reguilon start to compete for that spot. So it was kind of you didn't really know who was going to get it. Reguilon has been injured. He's had some injury issues. So that's been the main reason why he's been out. I think he finally got some minutes when he was brought on as a substitute against somebody but he ended up getting a goal, I remember, like pretty fast. And then I think pretty much right after that game, he got another injury. So Reguilon's had some injury issues, but that's not to say that there's definitely some competition there. I think that's what you need though at a club. I think you look at Chelsea's win backs; they all have that, right? They're all constantly competing for those win back spots, and that's where I'd want my club to be.
Would you praise Thomas Tuchel for instilling that competition?
I'd praise how Chelsea are run as a club. They have so many players; they're loaning them out or whatever. I think I'd praise that, and that's like a good way to do it. I admire Chelsea's ability to just to just have players dying to play for that badge all the time.
Fair enough. And looking at this game, right, and looking at Arsenal and whatnot, and as I was asking Cyrus earlier, where do you think you can target Arsenal? Where can they be exposed? Where do their weaknesses lie? Where do their strong points lie? What players, in your opinion, does Conte need to grab a hold of that Tottenham side and say, hey, this guy, you better get two men on this guy every single time he has the ball?
I think for me lately, if there's a player that I would say I fear most at Arsenal right now, I think Martinelli's been great this season. I think he's the one with like this. He's got this creativity and this youthful just energy on the field that I think is unique to the rest of that Arsenal team. I know you have other young players that have it, but I still think I can predict a lot of the time what players like Saka, Odegaard, even Smith Rowe are going for. There a lot of the time I can tell Arteta's told them to go for like kind of that late run into the box. Martinelli, on the other hand, I think has a lot of freedom to do just a lot of damage on his own. I think he's the one that will give our defense the most trouble. So I think if I'm gonna choose any player that I think is great on Arsenal, it's gonna be Martinelli. But I think we'll be able. I think there needs to be a stress on Højbjerg and Bentancur to get really involved in defending those late runs into the box that Arsenal love so much. I think our defense can handle, because I know for a fact Arsenal defense, there's no way they can handle, I think, Tottenham's attacking play. I think that'll be their weak point. I think we're at least going to get one goal in there. But yeah, I think if we can make just sort of Arsenal get just kind of frustrated with how to breach our back line, those young guys may not have the composure to keep attacking and keep attacking. They're going to keep trying the same shit, or they're going to, or they're just going to get sick of it. So yeah, I think frustrating Arsenal's, I think for me personally, just a lot of them are predictable attacks. I think doing that will help us a lot. The one thing that I think every great result that Arsenal has had against top six opposition, United, when they had that really good game against City, just every good game that they've had against the top six opposition, there's been one thing that Arteta's done really well, and that's a calculated press. Right, the first time was against Man United like last season, and then ever since then he did it to us in the earlier season too. And I know for a fact, if I'm asking Conte to prepare for anything, it's going to be that calculated press. We need to be able to work out of that. Now we just played Liverpool, so the players are probably primed to get through it. But Arteta, I know, is going to specifically calculate how to press us and trouble us when we're building out of possession. So I think it's going to be us turning the ball over in our own half, Arsenal pressing us very high, and maybe nicking a goal off that. I think that's how if they're going to get a goal, that's how it'll be. So those are the things I'm thinking ahead of the game.
That's an absolutely superb point. The calculated press, and we've seen this from Mikel Arteta's side, and Cyrus would know about this 100%. I mean, as you said, look at the way they played against Manchester United last season at Old Trafford. And for me, that was when I turned against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And for me, I truly saw not only how tactically inept he was, but how tactically on point Arteta was with that press. Because I remember that game. We could barely string a few passes together. We'd lose the ball almost every single time off a goal kick, off a throw-in. It was just constantly pressing. People call Ralph Rangnick, or the father of the gegenpress. When I look at the way Arteta has his teams pressing, I'm thinking, he's the father of the press, or Pep was the one who's the father of the press and taught him the style of play. But taking a look at just, the players available for selection, what formation and what's your preferred 11 to go for into this game?
I'd go Golini in goal. I'm kidding. Hugo Lloris, our captain, definitely in between the six. Emerson Royal, I think with the players we have available selection, is our best bet at right wing back. Hopefully he can stack on another great performance.
If he was fit.
Oh yeah, I'd go Doherty if he was fit. I would actually.
You know what? He actually was good. He was playing well for a few games, Matt.
Oh, he was. Yeah.
He scored a few goals.
Yeah, and he was actually, for a little bit, he was when Sessignon and Reguilon were both kind of not 100% fit. He was playing well at left wing back too. You can realize he's very capable on either side. So at Royale, I'll go in there. Then the three center backs, Christian Romero. I mean, that guy is he's stopping everything.
He's held your defense together this season. One of my mates was telling me that in terms of just, he was naming his Premier League team of the season. Obviously, he named Virgil van Dijk, and he said alongside him, it had to be Christian Romero because he's held that Tottenham defense together. And I thought about it for a minute, and I couldn't agree more because he has. Yeah,
Romero's been just amazing this season, and he's definitely one of our most exciting prospects right now. Is just him. I think he's already feels like a world-class defender, but if we're being like very nitpicky, then I think 2 years tops before he's just a quality defender in the likes of like Ruben Diaz.
For me, when I think of world-class, right, and one of my mates was telling me that he doesn't, and neither do I don't think anyone gives world-class out lightly. I don't think anyone intends to. But in my opinion, when I think of world-class, I think of players who are consistently performing at a top level and in a top run of form consistently over a vast majority of the season for 3-4 years minimum. So I think he could get there if he maintains the form that he has held this season, which he's been phenomenal, and a Tottenham defense which at many points struggled. Let's just be honest. Get that. address the elephant in the room that defense has struggled. And he's really done a good job of holding it together when he's been fit. And you can tell when he's been out, you lot have missed him. So for me, I have a lot of praise for him. But anyways, who would be the two center backs starting, or the one center back? Because we all know that you'll most likely go Joe Rodon. Who would you play in that back three?
No, we're gonna go the other center backs. I think Dyer and Davies. Those three center backs have performed just like really well these last few games. Teams are really struggling how to get past them. What is it?
Davinson Sanchez ? What's going on with him?
He's playing. He's just not as good as the others, right? He's not at the moment. So I think Davinson. He got time against Liverpool at the end. So I think that's. If we're trying to hold the lead against Arsenal, Davinson's probably going to get put in for probably Sessegnon again.
I hope Davinson gets put in. This summer I watched a Copa America 5-6 Lionel Messi put him to the ground, and his whole thing is supposed to be strength and power.
Yeah.
We also saw some world class dancers from Yerry Mina in the penalty shootout. But let's not mention the goalkeeper who was in goal for that game. I don't really like mentioning him. Left wing back, it should be pretty straightforward. It's Brian Sessegnon.
He's all we have available to pick, really. So yeah, Sessegnon.
If Reguilon was fit, would you still pick Sessegnon?
It's tough to say because I'd have to look at their recent games and who was playing well. So that's why I can't really say that. I'd have to see I'd just go which one has been better the last few games. Sessegnon's been on a good run of form. If Reguilon was on a good run of form, I'd probably go Reguilon, to be honest. But
so if you were using your logic, you'd still go Sessegnon in terms of just run of form. You'd still give him the opportunity.
It's tough to say. I think I equate them like pretty evenly. But I do think Sessegnon, I would want to see Sessegnon versus Bukayo Saka. I think they're both they're both around the same. Huh?
I feel like, I agree with that. I think Sessegnon has more in his game and just his attributes to cope better in defending against someone like Bukayo Saka. I just think, his pace for me, Reguilon has pace, but Sessegnon has sheer pace, and for me, I think just
they
that.
Both do.
When you look at the first North London derby at the Emirates, I mean Saka. I thought there was just like an empty void in at left back because Reguilon was just non-existent. But midfield pivot, I think we all know who that's going to be. Obviously, Harry Winks going around there, and bringing back Sissoko from Watford for first Sissoko wings pivot.
Yep. Now you go, Højbjerg, the Viking, and Rodrigo Bentancur. He's been really, really good. I think we're going to need a bit of that class of touch that Bentancur has if we're going to outdo an energetic Arsenal midfield. It's going to need Bentancur just doing those little dribbles to get past, that little press and then putting us through. Yeah.
100%. And of course, the front three, it's been absolutely superb. At the moment, Steven Bergwijn, Lucas Moura better than Bruno Fernandes, as you said last season. Of course, staying Scarlet up front, obviously.
Yep.
So you're going straight away.
No, obviously, Kulusevski's just been. He's
been a revelation.
He's been a breath of fresh air.
A 35 million buy option for him?
Yeah, I think it might be less even. Yeah. I think it's 30, 35, something like that.
That's a bargain to be.
It's a steal. His value is only going to go up. He played
Harry Kane, and I just want to ask a question on Harry Kane. Just assuming let's just say Tottenham gazump Arsenal for Champions League football. Let's say they finish fourth. What do you think lies for the future of Harry Kane and for Antonio Conte? Because for me, I think if Conte doesn't get back, he's out the door. And I feel like if he goes, I feel like at the moment I feel like Conte is the only factor, in my opinion, that's keeping Kane at this club. I think if Conte wasn't at this club, I feel like Kane's head would have been set a long time ago. Yeah,
I think so. And I think if we get Champions League, I don't think there's any way Kane's leaving, truly. I think he stays if we get Champions League. If we don't get Champions League, that's a whole other question, because then we're really putting the pressure on whether Conte's being back. And two, City have just signed Erling Haaland. It was no secret that City was Kane's first choice.
Guardiola said himself after I'd say probably, I wouldn't necessarily say your best performance of the season, but most unbelievable result of the season. I watched that game and I was starstruck.
Yeah.
And Pep Guardiola even said it in his post-match conference, saying, look, there's no secret that we wanted Harry Kane in the summer. There was no secret to it.
Yeah.
And 150 million rejected, even though that was just all in add-ons and whatnot. But anyways.
Yeah, if now that it seems like City's not going to be in the market for another striker,
no,
and if we don't get Champions League, then Kane's he's truly gonna be puzzled at where to go. Because is there much of a point?
Man United's looking for a striker.
That's why. Is there much of a point in going to Man United if
No.
they're finishing in sixth? Is if you're playing Conference League again? It's like it's not.
Yeah,
it's like
taking a step down. You may be taking a step down if you jump ship to Man United.
Exactly. It could very well be a step down. So it's like the only step ups domestically within the league would be Chelsea, Liverpool.
Manchester
Maybe that's it. That's
Arsenal.
Honestly, let's say City can't, right? Then it's just
Arsenal.
yeah, sure. Then you're wondering if Kane wants to stay in England, then he might be held hostage for another year at Daniel Levy FC. It's just like, if we need to get Champions League to just so Kane can stay happy. It's a weird one.
Definitely. And quickly from a Manchester United perspective, like for me, like as good of a striker Harry Kane is, we all know his injury issues. He's 29 or 28, 29.
Hasn't been injured this whole season.
Let's give a round of applause for Harry Kane for staying fit.
2 years, not injured.
Let's give him a round of applause. Well done. Well done to Harry Kane. I'll say this right now, like as good as he is, like especially with the English tax, he's closer to his 30s. For me, just especially looking at what Eric Ten Hag.
You still have Juan Mata on the books. Shut up about age. Phil Jones.
And he's leaving. Mata is leaving. Matic is leaving. Hopefully Phil Jones leaves. And hopefully Bobblehead leaves as well. Because, if there's one dream sale that I want this summer, it's Bobblehead. Out of anyone, please. Anyways, now
let's go back to this.
Getting into the combined 11.
Hold on. Obviously, Son at left wing. He's the best winger in the league. So best left winger in the league for sure.
No, I think Marcus Rashford's been amazing this season. He's been way better than him and Son. I think Rashford's been phenomenal. He's brilliant.
Right.
As much as I love Marcus Rashford, he's been shocking this season. But no, Heung-min Son's been phenomenal. He's been very, very good this season. Now into the last part of the show. Combined 11. Now, this is where I think things get very interesting. Now, what formation do you lot want to go with? Cyrus, I'll start with you. What formation do you want to go for the combined 11?
You can go like a 4-3-3, 4-3. I don't know, 4-3-3-4. Whatever Andre wants. I don't care.
Let's go. Sorry. Yeah, let's go back four. It'd be easier.
4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1?
Then we'll figure it out, man. Let's go 4-2-3-1. 4-2-3-1.
All right, fair enough. All right. So we'll go with the 4-2-3. In goal, Aaron Ramsdale versus Hugo Lloris. But we all know that the best goalkeeper of the bunch is Runerson. And Cyrus, what would you if Alex Runerson came back and he took the number 1 jersey Arsenal and they sold Ramsdale? What would you do?
I'd rather have Leno.
Anyways, Ramsdale, Lloris could go either way. If you lot are, if you're dead set on a certain player and there's just gridlock and you lot can't, I'll be a tiebreaker if needed. So Cyrus, who's your goalkeeper going to be in this combined 11?
And this is on form, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go Ramsdale.
Yeah.
Really, that's actually sort of surprising. As great as he's been this season, I feel like as of the recent months, he's dropped just a bit. Like not tremendously, I just feel like he's dropped off. Whether it's him conceding goals down down to his own mistakes. I've seen him like one of the goals against Chelsea. I think he should have definitely done better on, but obviously he's a young goalkeeper. He'll learn a little bit better and whatnot. But Andre, are you going with Ramsdale or are you standing by Hugo Lloris?
Nah, yeah, definitely fight for Lloris. So we'll need the tiebreaker, Davis.
Fair enough. And a lot of people think I'm an Arsenal fan because I believe that Kieran Tierney is better than Reguilon for whatever reason. I don't understand that. But for me, I'd have to go Hugo Lloris in terms of recent form. You could really go either way, but I think Hugo Lloris just edges it for me. We'll go into right back. Tomiyasu against
Tomiyasu versus Emerson.
Emerson Royale.
Yeah, I'm good with Tomiyasu.
So would I.
I think there is a no-brainer there. Tomiyasu in at right back. Now, center backs. I'll just address the elephant in the room. Christian Romero and Gabriel. Yes, so are we having that?
Do we go? You think Gabriel over Ben White? Or?
No,
Yes.
I don't think Ben White's going to be fully fit.
I don't think Ben White's going to be fully fit, and I think Gabriel has been better this season.
Andre, are we saying Gabriel and Christian Romero at center back? All right.
I will forego it, but I do think you know what? That Davies has been amazing, but I will forego. Let's go. What's it?
Fair enough. At left back now, can't really use Tierney. You guess for Arsenal, you have a choice of Cedric and Nuno Tavares, and for Tottenham, I guess you go Brian Sessegnon.
Do we want to put Davies left back if we have no one else? The man's been amazing.
I personally vouch for Sessegnon, but it's up to you two.
Do you like any of your left backs, sirs?
No.
Let's put Davies there. He's been amazing.
Fair enough. As Cyrus, what would you do if Arsenal end up selling Tierney and Arteta says, trust the process and that Nuno Tavares will be Arsenal's new starting left back?
Well, Nuno is absolutely shocking. There's many more things I could say that aren't PG about Nuno, but the only beneficial position for Nuno is like a left wing back type thing, because defensively he's that of Mainan.
Fair enough. More or less another classic serious analysis on players that he just simply does not rate. Now into the midfield. We'll do one holding midfielder. We could just go either way. In terms of midfielders that we could go with, I'll just address the options. On the Tottenham side, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, you have the likes of Rodrigo Bentancur, Oliver Skip, you have the likes of Harry Winks, who everyone knows he will be in the starting 11. Obviously, he'll be sold for 100 million because of how amazing he is. Bring back Musa Sissoko from Watford. And on the Arsenal side, you have the likes of Thomas Partey, if I believe he's fit. You have the likes of no. Partey isn't fit, isn't he? No, he's not fit. I don't know why I said he wasn't. No, Partey isn't fit. You have the likes of Mohamed El-Neni, you have the likes of Granit Xhaka, the likes of another one of Cyrus's favorite midfielders that he wants to see start right now. Albert Sambi Lokonga. As much as I like him, I know Cyrus would love to see Sambi Lokonga start in that North London derby. Cyrus, what would you do if you saw Sambi start in the North London derby?
I'd probably jump off my local bridge, Daveye.
But anyways,
Good.
Martin Odegaard, give the likes of him. Odegaard for me just already secures a spot. Just period. So I'll just address that elephant in the room right away. Odegaard takes one of the good roles, and then the other two, I believe. Unless if you really want to put Smith, no, I wouldn't even put Smith Rowe in there in terms of form. I'll say each of you take a midfielder.
I think we go upside down triangle with Odegaard, and then I really like Partey. He's not fit.
No, he's not fit.
Okay, then unless he wants to I mean, then it's just Xhaka and Lokonga, right? Or is there anyone? I don't know. Is it Bentancur, Højbjerg, and with Odegaard at the top of the triangle is good for me. But if
I'll just say one midfielder each. So you choose one of Bentancur and Højbjerg, and I guess Cyrus chooses one of Elneny and Granit Xhaka, because both of them, Elneny and Xhaka, have been in good form. So and Cyrus, apparently Fabrizio Romano said that Elneny wants to stay and that they're negotiating a new contract for him. Cyrus, what would you do if you saw the Arsenal Football Club are delighted to announce that Mohamed Elneny has signed a new 7-year contract?
Well, I'm okay with him signing 1 year, definitely not 7.
What would your reaction be if he was made the new club captain by Mikel Arteta?
I'd probably switch clubs, to be honest.
Fair enough. So seriously, you have your choice of one of Elneny or Granit Xhaka. Who are you going to go with?
I'm gonna have to unfortunately go with Xhaka. He's been actually really good.
Unfortunately, you have to go with Xhaka, and of course, Andre. Who are you going to choose? One of Bentancur and Højbjerg.
It's a tough one. I'll go Bentancur.
Fair enough. Now the front three, and for me, this is actually where it sort of gets somewhat interesting. One of them, Heung-min Son, gets in there, but then if we're saying off a recent form, as you know, don't take this in the wrong way. Don't take this in the sense that I'm even comparing these two in the same brackets. But when you just look off of recent form, Cyrus's guy, Eddie Nketiah, he's been in good form. I'm not saying he's the person to go into striker, because we all know that's Dane Scarlett. But you have to give him somewhat of a shout, even though I'm pretty sure who will go into striker. Up to both of you. And at right wing, it's definitely going to be Kulusevski versus Bukayo Saka, and up front it will be Eddie Nketiah versus Harry Kane. So you two, right winger and striker. Andre, start with you.
I think I need I don't think I can lose 2 spots. Like, I can deal with losing 1. I'm good because Nketiah, I know he's been good the last 2 games. I'm down to put Nketiah on the wing and just put Kane up top, or we could do Kane, or we could do, if we really want to put Nketiah up top, then I get Kulusevski.
No, it's entirely up to you.
I think we can do Kane Saka.
Okay.
That sounds fair. Andre, are you in agreement?
Yeah, yes, that's. Yeah, I think that's the most logical. If we're going interesting, then we'd go the other way. But yeah, I think that's the most logical Kane Saka.
Fair enough. And all right, well, predictions, of course.
I know.
Quick predictions for this game. Cyrus, if I can recall, you predicted a 3-2 win for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think I did. But if I didn't, I'm going to do that now, because I think we're definitely going to concede. It just comes down to the goals for sure. I'm very scared about Son. That's my one thing. I'm still going to say we're going to win, but if we tie, I won't be surprised.
I wouldn't be too nervous about Son. I think if he's up against, Nuno Tavares, I think, he'll get pocketed.
Well, if Nuno plays, I'm not going to watch.
And Andre, what's your prediction for this game? As you mentioned before.
Yeah, I think.
Or wait, no, 3-1. I think you said 3-1, Tom.
Yeah, I did. I think I saw the last time Arsenal beat Tottenham at home, Arteta was starting in midfield. So it's been a while. I don't think they will win. I think they'll put up a really good fight, but I think we'll win in the end. Yeah, I'll go 3-1 Tottenham.
Fair enough. And lastly, before we end the show, I said 2-2. I think this is going to be a wild game. Emotions are going to be And this
This
game,
could be the best North London. This could be the best North London derby that we've had in the last half a decade. So it could really, everything is on the line.
I mean,
So
I
it's gonna be
feel
a good game.
whoever comes out on top will get fourth place.
Well, no, yeah, because if Arsenal win, we mathematically get top four.
Yes,
Yeah,
mathematically.
that's a big motivator. That's going to be what's going to be pushing them the whole time. Is that if we just do it now, then there's no pressure for the rest of the season. That'd be huge for that young team because their game against Everton is one that shines out to me as one that they could drop points on. Everton have beat them the last 3 times they've played. They haven't beat them in 2 years. Arsenal haven't won in 2 years. Everton are in decent form now. So it's like if Arsenal do struggle against us, then Everton could be their big drop. But if that young team can seriously end the curse and beat us, that credit to Arsenal. You know,
I have a prediction. I'll say this now, right? If Arsenal win this North London derby, I think Everton. I predict Everton will stay up because I think Arteta. Not saying he's going to completely bin the game against Everton, but that he's going to play. You know, he could play a good amount of youngsters, young kids in that last game, and that's going to be everything for Everton. Like,
and don't forget, Arteta used to play for Everton too. So,
of course, and of course, you know, I think Cyrus will definitely look forward to, you know, a potential, you know, Alex Iwobi masterclass from the wings. Cyrus said, what would you do if there was a nice Alex Iwobi masterclass from the left wing?
Well, assuming we beat Tottenham, if we start Nuno, then there probably will be. So,
anyways, before the end of the video, I'll just run through the combined 11 really quickly. Of course, formation of 4-3-3. In goal, Hugo Lloris. Right back, we have Tomiyasu. I can't say his first name for my life. The center back partnership of Gabriel, as well as Christian Romero. We have Ben Davies at left back. I think we said Ben Davies, I think, instead of Ben Davies at left back. And midfield trio of Martin Odegaard, Cyrus's boy Granit Xhaka, and Andre. I think he went with Bentancur. Did you go Højbjerg? I think he went Bentancur. I think.
Yeah, I did.
All right, Rodrigo Bentancur, and up front, of course, Heung-min Son on the left, Bukayo Saka on the right, and Eddie Nketiah, Harry Kane up front. And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching this. Wherever you are in the world, smash like on this video. Let us know in the comments down below, what are you thinking for this game? Tell us, what are you thinking for this game? And wherever you are watching this in the world, have a great day or evening.